ring if you're ready to care. Oh, let's talk power, let's talk speed. Hosted by the one and only WETOODEEP. Turn it up loud, feel the power in your seat. This is slapping me, yes, slapping me.
Oh man, if you got me recording on a Friday here on the Slap and Meat community show, you know we have a rant or two. Welcome in to the show, the special edition, unannounced. I think maybe only one person knew this would be coming. We got some things to talk about. It's Friday. One day before WrestleMania, we got Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown. I think Tiffany's facing Julia on SmackDown for the U.S. Women's Championship. Because why not give them any WrestleMania moments, you know? That's another thing, like, is Tiffany Stratton sort of being punished for the way she handled Charlotte Flair last year? That's a topic that, I think it's very interesting. I think I think she is, and I think she should. Remember last year, at this point, I was saying she should be punished. I don't know if my punishment would have included completely ruining her booking. But, I mean, I think she should have just lost the match, and then you booked her stronger, but that's not what we're here for. I'm here to cover a few things. Just a few. And mainly, it's two things that have happened. That was what was planned, and then something really ridiculous happened yesterday. So we're going to start with that. And because this one and the main topic that I want to talk about. So we'll group those two together. This Jey Uso situation. And I just want to continue to talk about Pat McAfee, because every time they continue to do something with this Pat McAfee story, it just keeps getting cringier and cringier. And so, I think it was Tuesday morning, Pat McAfee comes on air, or Tuesday or Wednesday, and Pat McAfee comes on air, and essentially his set is destroyed, and they show this video of Cody Rhodes doing it, and you could obviously tell it was a work. And because of that, so I have a generalized theory on why I think this just doesn't feel real, other than the fact that it's not. But I also want to emphasize another point, because I'm starting to see people doing exactly what I said would happen. When it comes to these celebrities and involving celebrities in the WWE product, we're seeing exactly what I said was going to happen. It's happening. And so let's start with Jey Uso. He's on Cameron's. Apparently Cameron, the rapper from the early 2000s, has a sports podcast, of all things. And I guess there's some listeners to it. I guess, I don't know. I wouldn't want to listen to a has-been rapper talk about sports. That's just me. But Jey Uso was on the show, and the altercation happened where, like, a question was asked, like, where do you see yourself in the family hierarchy as far as career, right? And Cameron basically said Jey was overrated. Cameron didn't tell a single lie in this entire thing. And so Jey gets a little bit upset and pulls him over the desk and fake punches him and completely exposes how fake the business is. And I don't think a single person who watched it believed it was real. I mean, this dude, from what I understand has some. I mean, he's got security. They didn't try to protect him. You could tell it was worked. And it just was. The longer I sat and watched it, the cringier it got. It just kept getting cringier and cringier, right? Just as every time they try to do something new with this Pat McAfee thing, it just keeps getting cringier and cringier. And I'm trying to give the story with Pat McAfee the benefit of a doubt that it's going to lead to some long-term War Games TKO versus WWE thing, right? I'm holding out hope. And we're holding out hope that they could try to salvage this and not do much damage to the product. Not that there's anything you could really damage. It's already pretty damaged. But if this Pat McAfee thing... I was in another Discord server, and I posed this situation. We were talking about Pat because it's for another podcast, and he enjoys the Pat McAfee stuff. And, I talk about, like, the spectrum of fans from sicko to casual, and he would be, if I'm in the middle, like, I claim to be sort of the bridge between the two extremes, right? I would say he's closer to the far right casual group, like further right than I am, right? Where I'm the bridge between the two. He's firmly in casual fan, and he loves Pat McAfee. He's biased in the same way that I'm biased against Pat. He's a little bit, and he recognizes his own bias for Pat McAfee. Now, I'll say this: we were having a conversation, and I said I love Pat's ESPN stuff, the stuff he does on his sports show, the stuff he does on College Game Day. That works for him. That's his world. But when you bring it to wrestling, and Pat McAfee is obviously trying to overhype, like take the gimmick up a little bit, and he's obviously trying to play an old 90s, late 90s Attitude Era heel, there's just no appeal for it. And it's not, he did the middle finger. I could care less about that. That's probably the best thing Pat McAfee has done since he's returned. It's come out and has he garnered some heat? Some could argue that it's wrestling heat. I don't. I genuinely believe that this is go away, we don't want you here heat. At least that's what it is for me. You don't belong here. You ruin, like, if this doesn't work out into a long-term storyline where it's like the indie darlings like Cody and CM Punk on Team WWE, and you can imagine a team like Cody, CM Punk, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Johnny Gargano. I'm trying to think of who's still in the company. Matt Cardona. Like, I could see a Cody, a CM Punk, a Cardona, a Sami, and like a Kevin Owens if he's healthy, or something along those lines. Gunther. Let's go Gunther. So, Gunther, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Matt Cardona, Sami Zayn. Those five spending the year going against Oba Femi or Brock Lesnar. Let's go Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Logan Paul, the Team TKO guys. And because no one wants to see Pat wrestle, let's just be honest. And I think that would be genuinely fun if we end up with like long-term storytelling that way. And that's how we get to Brock and Gunther at SummerSlam. And we get to a War Games match down the line as well. Because, like, I think we could build something towards that. or you have to sort of like choose. And like SummerSlam, this could be like because there's a little bit of hope here. Like if I could take off the pessimistic glasses for a minute, that just wants to rant that Pat McAfee's on my TV screen. There's a little bit of something you could build here, where it could be SummerSlam instead of it being War Games. SummerSlam, TKO versus WWE, right? Or something like that. And you could build like your traditional SummerSlam matches, and you have, a 6-match card, or I would say a 5-match. Do a 5-match card. You have a women's SummerSlam match, a men's SummerSlam match, and then just 3 other matches where it's WWE versus TKO. And the entire build from Mania to that event is, what side are you on? I'm for that, because that could be good television if it's done correctly. Right? And you could have, you could even have the GM sort of pick sides, where Adam Pearce tends to be a little bit more like of that indie darling, and you could sort of maybe buy off all this, right? And then you get the people making the calls, right? On like Team TKO is being run by Pat McAfee through the ears of The Rock and Ari Emanuel, and the other team is Triple H, sort of, doing and you could put some actual character depth and stakes on the line through this event. I think it could be fun. I think it would even be even more fun if at the end of it, Vince McMahon returns to literally buy back his company from TKO. And that's the storyline. I think that would be that would be sort of hilarious. That we ended at SummerSlam, and the thing is, if TKO loses, they have to sell the company, and Team WWE wins the thing. And so you would obviously have it be 2-2 going into the final match, which would be the men's match. And you have the men's team for Team WWE win, and so TKO's got to sort of sell their company, and you have The Rock come out and say, we're trying to find a buyer, it's going to take some time, and then Vince McMahon's music comes out and says it's not going to take that long. I'm here to buy. That would be, I'm just to be honest with you, that would be hilarious television. I would be all for that. But I don't necessarily, that's me sort of fantasy booking. And I think my fantasy booking's a little bit more, closer to what people would want to watch than what I'm actually going to get. My point of the matter is, Jay Cameron's cringy. And what I'm starting to notice, and I've seen several posts about this now, and this was part of the conversation I was having in this other Discord server that I'm in, is at what point, and this is the point that I've brought up before, my fear with the ESPN deal, and everyone was like, well, now they could talk about WWE on ESPN, and what have I been consistently saying? How long is that going to work before the non-wrestling fan, because you got to understand, there's only 2 million people in this country who watch pro wrestling. It's a small amount of people. And most of them, I guarantee you, are not tuning in to First Take or Pat McAfee show on a daily basis. Right? And so the question then has to become, how much is the non-wrestling fan who tunes into ESPN to watch sports takes, genuine sports takes on basketball or football? The NFL Network is now owned by ESPN. They're now part of the ESPN branded family. How many people are going to tune into these shows and want to watch? Yesterday, ESPN's main channel and ESPN2, both at the same time, were covering WWE WrestleMania. And as a wrestling fan, I think that's kind of cool. But I'm also realistic in recognizing if I'm a sports fan who tunes into First Take or tunes into the Pat McAfee show, I don't care about wrestling, which I'm willing to bet is probably about 80% of the ESPN audience. I'm sitting here wondering, what is this BS on my TV screen right now? When are we going to talk about actual sports? Right? And so my concern is how long are the non-wrestling fans going to put up with wrestling taking over their networks? I just don't think there's a market for this. I also don't think that WWE as a industry, wrestling as an industry, WWE as a company, has that crossover appeal anymore. Roman Reigns does. He has crossover appeal into the mainstream. I think Cody Rhodes even has a little bit of crossover appeal into the mainstream. CM Punk doesn't. Jey Uso's cringy. He's not crossover material to me. LA Knight doesn't cross over. Right? I think there's like Roman Reigns, The Rock. Like when you ask the non-watcher of wrestling who to name a WWE wrestler, it's John Cena, it's The Rock, right? I don't necessarily think we have that crossover appeal as much as TKO wants to believe there is. And so, right, and then the people that they're trying to cross over with, I don't think necessarily fits the market of who is watching wrestling. What fan is going to care about a has-been wrestler, or excuse me, a has-been rapper who hasn't put out an album, I think, in over a decade? Right? No one necessarily cares about Cameron that watches wrestling. I'm not saying that it's 100% no one cares, but I'm willing to bet a majority of the wrestling fan base, one, wasn't watching it, right? That doesn't win anything for WWE. Maybe it wins a little bit for Cameron because people start checking out the clips and know about him a little bit, but give it a week or two and that buzz dies off. So my if we're going to do celebrities, and I don't mind celebrities in the rest, like, right? But first off, why are we using the same, like, handful of, like, 3 people? It's always Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee. And I don't like Jelly Roll's music. I think Jelly Roll makes music for, I don't really know who he makes music for. I wouldn't necessarily call it what he makes music. I'm just going to be completely honest. I think there's, like, one song that I like that he's done that's gone popular. I don't necessarily care for his music, but like it's Jelly Roll or it's Speed or it's, anytime they're in like Atlanta and they try to show, oh, look who's in the building, it's Lil Yachty, right? Does anyone actually listen to Lil Yachty still? I don't think they're choosing celebrities that the fan base cares about, right? I just don't. You have to be able to work out something to where it can't just be like, oh, we got a celebrity here, now we're popular. No, it's got to be someone that matters and cares, and it doesn't, right? And it also can't feel like fake. And what happened with Jey Uso and what happened with Cody coming and crashing the set of Pat McAfee, it just felt fake. It felt scripted, right? And as a wrestling fan, like the one thing I always say that I want to watch is entertainment and believability. It has to be believable though, right? And there's no way in the world do I believe that Pat McAfee leaves his studio unprotected in the middle of the night. So, and then he has a janitor or whoever cleaning up who just lets Cody Rhodes walk in. Like if Pat McAfee had a beef with Cody Rhodes and was worried about Cody Rhodes coming into his studio, you would probably think, hey, guys who are after night, if this guy tries to get into the building, you can't let him in. And I don't know. It's scripted. Like, it's stupid. And then you would also expect if Cameron had security that they would actually keep him secure from Jey Uso dragging him over the desk. Now, what would have been funny, I don't know the girl's name. There's a girl on that podcast, and she climbed up on the desk. And what would have been funny if it would have happened, if she would have just dove head first, like dove and did like an elbow off the desk on the Jey Uso, I would have laughed a little bit at that. I would have popped for that. But I just think it's cringy. I just think overall it's cringy. And I want WWE stop with the celebrities and stop with the cringe. But I want to throw out this possibility. I don't know if I've put this out there, but I'm going to put it on air now. I think I hate this more because it's the main event. And I don't personally see a reason why Drew McIntyre had to lose the title as quickly as he did. Especially if his match was going to be an unsanctioned match against Jacob Fatu. If that was going to be the match, like, would it not make sense for the main event of WrestleMania, night 1, because you're always going to have Roman main event night 2, would it not have made sense for the main event of night 1 to have been Drew McIntyre? Like I explained when I predicted the show, if it's unsanctioned, it should end the card, so that you can do a match, turn off the lights, say this is an unsanctioned match, we're not responsible, and then you give the actual main event of this unsanctioned match for the title 45 minutes to end the night with no rules, no holds barred, bloodied mess. Drew McIntyre leaves in a bloody mess. Jacob Fatu like, could you imagine leaving wrestling with Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu being your world champions under a new bloodline lineage, like a two tribes united under two tribal chiefs, and you can bring that story back into fruition? And the MFTs, they need some protection. Hey, we'll bow to you guys. We'll serve you guys as our tribal chiefs, our co-chiefs, or whatever, right? And then we sort of reset what the bloodline was before Cody won the title, as just this dominant heel faction, right? I think the better visual would have been ending WrestleMania that way, than ending WrestleMania with probably Roman winning the title anyway, and either Randy Orton with Pat McAfee holding the belt up, or with still a Cody Rhodes winning, right? And it's nothing really progressed. I don't know. This is the way I think. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about. I came on here Monday night when I recorded it. You probably heard it Tuesday morning. And I went out there after Dynasty and said, put my credibility, as little as I have in the wrestling business, on the line. And I said, I think Tony Khan and AEW, from a booking standpoint, is doing better than WWE. At that time, I don't necessarily think I was wrong. But you see, this is why I don't give Tony Khan any benefits of the doubts, ever. Because that's a really unpopular statement to my audience, who probably doesn't watch AEW all that much. I know some of my peoples who probably don't listen to AEW all that much, or watch it, or pay attention. And they're probably thinking I'm a little crazy. And now they're thinking I'm a lot crazy, because on Wednesday, Darby Allin wins his match on Sunday, gets a title match on Wednesday in his hometown. And look, we could just argue about the fact that Darby Allin being the world champion, because that's what happens on Wednesday. Darby Allin wins the AEW World Champion. If they would have put out a 45-minute slobber knocker, best match of the year type thing, we could still argue about how crazy it is that 160-pound Darby Allin, who climbs Mount Everest and coffin drops off everything, and that he's the world champion. We could still sort of make how that would still have been somewhat questionable booking. It goes from questionable to just plain stupid when you watch the match. And I wasn't watching the show, like paying attention, but I was in the room where my brother was watching it. And I was doing my own thing, just minding my own business. Sort of looking over every few minutes, seeing if anything interesting may have been on TV. And I look at my phone, and it's like 9:52. And Tony Schiavone or I can't remember the dork who does commentary with the mask. Excalibur, that's his name. One of them two were talking. We're going to our final commercial break. This full match will be shown to you commercial free. And so I'm sitting here thinking, I looked at my phone again. I said, this match is going to be 6 minutes. Right? That's what I asked my brother. And he was like, we're probably going to get an overrun of a lifetime. I said, okay, that makes a lot more sense. They'll probably do a 30-minute match. And, with all the entrances and celebrations afterward, because I still thought Darby was going to win because it was in his hometown. But they'll do like a 30-minute match with all the entrances and celebrations. They'll end it at like 10:30. And that's their overrun. No. They come out, entrances and all that. By the time the bell rings, it's like 9:55 my time. Like, there's 5 minutes left in this show. The bell rings, and Darby proceeds. I missed the first move, so I don't know what it was. But all I know is once MJF was on the ground, Darby proceeds to do 4 coffin drops. I'm pretty sure he did one off each turnbuckle. 4 coffin drops. After the 4th one, he pins MJF to a 1-2-3. He squashes MJF. The only casual person on the show that casual fans maybe could get connected to. The only person that really brings anything interesting, in my opinion, to your show in the men's division. I think there's some brilliant women's talent on that roster. 100%. Megan Bain, is it Lena Cross is her partner? I think they're fantastic. When that contract's over, WWE's going to pay for both of them. Persephone, apparently her contract ends in the summer. And AAA's calling. AAA just got La Catalina out from CMLL. Big steal. Great talent. I'm telling you. B-Master was kind of joking, I think. Maybe he's being serious, but I actually think he's being realistic here. Booker of the Year probably is going to Mark Calloway for what he's doing with AAA right now. That's not even a far reach, I don't think. But MJF. Now apparently he's going to film a movie or something. Here, you want to see the difference between WWE and AEW? MJF goes to go film a movie. He gets squashed on a Wednesday night Dynamite to 160-pound, no one cares about Darby Allin, and loses his title. Drew McIntyre, I'm pretty certain, is getting ready to leave to go film a movie as well. I don't expect him to win his match at WrestleMania. I think it's tomorrow. I think he's on Saturday. Don't expect him to win. But I do expect that unsanctioned match to be bloody, brutal, and at least 20 minutes long. You see the difference? If they would have had a 30-minute match that was a solid match, wouldn't be as... I mean, I would still laugh that Darby Allin's your world champion. But give MJF a match that he could come back to. And book him off TV where... Like, you had Sting show up on TV to go point Darby and say, you can do this. You could at least had Sting come out and attack or distract MJF to lead to this happening so that MJF had something to come back to as a story. You gave MJF nothing to come back to. Right? He gets squashed. Right? And he's a true professional. He gets squashed. He rolls out of the ring. We don't see him again. He lets Darby have his moment. But if I'm him, I'm furious. You didn't give me anything to come back to. You didn't protect my business. You didn't protect me or my brand that I'm building as a wrestler. And at some point, he has to take that into his own hands to protect his own brand. But I would be furious at Tony Khan if I'm MJF. Now, I don't think MJF is ever going to jump ship. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he is an AEW sort of loyalist. I think he realizes where WWE is going. Though if he wants to be in movies, like that's the thing I think would attract him to TKO WWE. Is the movie side of everything. So I just find it absolutely hilarious that Darby Allin, all 160 pounds of Darby Allin, on 4 coffin drops, pins your world champion. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just find it absolutely hilarious. I just thought of one other thing. Just a theory as we end this. They finally awarded who gets Forbidden Door this year. And it's going to San Jose, California. Now, I immediately saw that, and I thought of one thing. Could Pam Martinez, or Pamela Rose, I think her last name is Martinez, Bayley, the wrestler we know as Bayley, could she be jumping ship? I could see her, I don't know when her contract ends, but I'm sure it's coming soon. And I don't think she resigns. I don't think she likes the way she's being booked. I also think she recognizes, like, I think there comes a point where someone like a Bayley who's been on top of the WWE card for going on a decade now. And I think there's a point you start to realize, well, Tiffany's better. She's getting better booked. We have Tiffany, we have Liv, we have Rhea, we have Stephanie Vaquer, we have Julia, we have Sol Ruka coming up, we have a Kendall Gray. Wait, there's no room for me. I think that's what she recognized, right? That I'm mid-card now. If I'm going to be mid-card, let me go jump to where I could go run some dream matches. I think what the wrestler we know as Bayley, Pamela Rose, I think was her indie name. I think she's going to jump and in San Jose debut. I don't know if she'll have a match, but I think she debuts, and I'm willing to bet. So when I pointed this out to James and Cody in our little group chat that we have, James said Mercedes versus Pamela. I don't think that's going to be the match. I think they're going to tag team for the titles at Forbidden Door. I think, or they'll form a tag. I think Mercedes is going to get in a feud where she needs a partner, and that's going to be the surprise at Forbidden Door. Is Pamela comes out, Bayley comes out, and partners with Mercedes Monet. I think that'll be the surprise. That's what I think will happen. They'll form a tag team there. Then from that event going forward, I think they will go for the tag titles. Genuinely believe that's what's going to happen. And I say all the more power to her. I'm one of the people who have been saying that we need to freshen up the roster anyway, and Bayley's not really adding much of anything. I think it'll do her very good at this point in her career. Go get her bag. Go run the like she's built a name for herself. I also think this sets up, because I don't think we'll get this in WWE, and we should. Izzy Moreno, the super fan for Bayley when Bayley first debuted in NXT, is now a pro wrestler, and I've always wanted this. You know, she's now 18 years old, so she's legal to wrestle in every state. I've always wanted her to be signed by WWE, show up at NXT, and as she's doing her like first promo for Bayley in her heel form, to come out and just interrupt her, set up a feud, have Izzy go over Bayley, and just have that good moment, just that full circle moment. I've always thought that should happen. I don't think we'll get it in WWE. I think it's where it should happen, and I think it should happen in NXT. I don't think we'll get it to happen, though. If it does happen, it'll be on the Indies. But that match needs to happen. It should happen in NXT, but I would not be shocked if it happens on the Indies if Bayley does decide to leave. But yeah, that's a little special show for you. It's been a while since I've just done a sort of show like this without much planning and just talking about things. I don't know. This one felt good to me, y'all. Like, I love talking about the sports stuff, and we're sort of trying to figure out. I'm kind of figuring out what I like to talk about, what I don't like to talk about, because I don't watch wrestling that much. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm super tempted to get Netflix again and to reconnect post WrestleMania and reconnect and to watch Raw and SmackDown again. Like actually live. And to start to come back and get in just doing wrestling. I want to know what you all think about that. And then on the occasion, throw in the sport, like when football season comes back, still doing like Patriot Corner and all of that for football season. But let me know what you all think, what you all as the community. This is a community show after all. Let me know what you all think. Thank you all for listening. Hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. Until next time, I'm WETOODEEP. I will see you next week. Just heads up. More than likely, I'm recording Tuesday night. Because more than likely, I'm watching Raw after SmackDown. Or Raw after Mania, excuse me. More than likely, I'll be watching Raw on Monday. Just a heads up. That's like the only Raw in the year that I kind of wanted to watch. So, more than likely I'll watch that because I think we'll get something on that show that'll be entertaining. So, more than likely the show will be recorded Tuesday night, just to let y'all know. With that, y'all have a great weekend. I'm WETOODEEP, and I will see you on the next episode.
So hit that subscribe, come along for the ride, whether it's NXT or NFL time. Going in the ropes and fourth and deep, slapping meat community every Tuesday. Go for the community, yeah. Help community, yeah. Every Tuesday, every Tuesday.